Hello again guys, welcome back. Got another review for you today, and it is the Yamaha R6 2017 model. And I must admit, as road going crotch rockets go, that is nice, and I mean really nice. So aggressively styled. It's meant to be sort of similar to the R1. Actually has the same front and rear suspension as the R1 as well. Hang on, let me just get around the front of this so you can see how aggressive that looks from the front. So sharp, so sharp. Such a lovely bike. So, specs. We've got a 4-cylinder liquid-cooled engine, 118 horsepower. Not quite as powerful as some of the competitors. However, this is a bit of a dying breed because a lot of the 600cc bikes are pretty much being killed off by the Euro 4 emissions, which is kind of a shame, and it doesn't look like many manufacturers are bothering to update them and bring them back this year. Yamaha being one of the exceptions. Obviously this is the brand new R6, is fully Euro 4 compliant, and yeah, so they've kind of got that little tiny bit of market to themselves almost at the minute. There's not an awful lot of competition there. The only thing is though, I don't know whether in this day and age there's really much call for a bike like this. I'll kind of try and explain as we're going along. I want to get going in a minute. Just before I do though, a little bit about the seating position and everything else. I feel a little bit ridiculous on it. It's not a very big bike, it's really quite tiny. And also, the seat is angled down slightly, so I tend to find I have to keep pushing myself back, otherwise I tend to trap the old gonads on the tank here, which is a little bit uncomfortable. But yes, right, let's turn her on. So this is a near enough £11,000 bike. Now, the reason it costs that much is because you get a hell of a lot with this thing. For a start, the components, I mean, it's got magnesium, various alloys in it. It's so light. I mean, this weighs less than my 125. It is that light. And you can imagine that light, but with 118 brake horsepower, is pretty damn good. It's got a 6-stage traction control system, which you can select how aggressive it is or turn it off completely using this toggle here. It's got 3 drive modes, so it's got standard, it's got what they call A mode, which sort of sharpens up the throttle response and everything else, and then it's got B mode, which lessens the throttle response for when the weather conditions are not too great. ABS obviously, as standard with most bikes, LED headlights, yeah, right, I think that'll do for going on about the styling and everything else. I do, as I said, I do like the styling. It is a very nice, very pretty bike. It's just, because of my height and everything, it just feels a bit odd. Right, let's get going. Right, run. Ooh. There we go. Right. Off we go. So yeah, I do feel a little bit awkward. I'm not so much astride this bike, more kind of, I don't know, I kind of feel more like I'm perched on top of it like a jockey in the Grand National. I don't really know whether to put petrol in this thing or to stroke it between the ears and feed it a sugar cube. And especially going down this hill, this slightly slanted seat is really bashing my balls on the tank, so I keep having to push myself back. Which is awkward. I mean, who did they make this bike for? Really small people. But before I say too many negative things about it, I will say this is a very, very fun bike to ride. Where to start? So the engine is so nice and smooth. It just, you barely feel any vibration at all through the bike, which is lovely. The other thing I really love about it is the exhaust note. I mean, listen to this. Oh, that sounds nice. Right, what other goodies do we get with this bike? So, as well as the traction control and everything else, we also get a quick shifter. Only works on upshifts. You still have to push the clutch, no, still have to pull the clutch in for downshifts. But when you're upshifting, you can just flick the lever up and you don't have to do anything else. It just does it all for you, which is quite nice. So, I mean, like now, I don't know what I'm in third, fourth, fifth. You don't have to roll off the throttle or anything. You just flick it and it does it all for you. It's quite nice. So yeah, I mean, this is an incredibly fun bike to ride, but the main sort of question really is, does it have a place in today's world? Because if you want a fast bike on the street, there are so many street fighters and things like that these days, it kind of makes you wonder what the point of something like this is. Because, let's be honest, this is a track bike. You know, especially all these traction control goodies and everything else, this is primarily designed for the track. You know, but obviously you can use it on the road as well. So, in theory, this is a perfect bike for someone who wants a track bike, but wants one that they can ride from their house to the track. So, you know, they don't have to spend money on trailers and everything else. Because, I mean, like I just said, there are so many street fighters and things, and so many bikes with so much more comfortable riding positions, but with a similar sort of engine and everything else. It makes me wonder, if you were buying this purely for the road, why you'd bother. But that said, it is a pleasure to ride, and this is coming from someone who finds this, I'm not going to lie, quite uncomfortable. I mean, I'm 6 foot, I feel like this is a toy bike beneath me. It really does feel like a crotch rocket, and after about 20 minutes it starts to become very uncomfortable. But then the thing is despite feeling awkward and uncomfortable, I am having a fantastic time, because this bike is just so nice. It's so light and handles so well, and the power is so smooth. It's just, I don't know, it's a weird one. You can almost forgive the slight aches and pains that I'm starting to feel in my lower back. I mean, I don't know if I'd forgive it for too long. I probably wouldn't want to ride this bike, you know, on a long trip or anything. I think I'd probably kill myself before I got to the end of the trip. But, you know, just to go out and have a bit of fun at the weekend, this is brilliant. Or at the track. I mean, I've only got it, so I've got it probably, I think I'm on setting 3 on the traction control, and then I'm on standard driving mode at the minute, so I've not even got it on a particularly aggressive mode. But I'll tell you what, the acceleration on this thing, because it just revs, it revs so high. I can't remember what its max RPM is. I think it is somewhere near the 17,000 mark, which is ridiculously high. They've not actually changed all that much about this bike, funnily enough, since the previous incarnation, because the power has actually remained about the same. But all these electronic aids and everything else do mean you can go that little bit faster, with that little bit more confidence. Right, I'm going to try and get out onto the main road again in a minute so we can take it for a proper blast. You can see what this is properly like, but even going slowly, actually, the handling is so nice. You'd have to ride it to understand the kind of feeling of it, but it's so confidence inspiring. Like, it's been a while since I've ridden this kind of bike. For ages now I've been riding, well, a 125, and then I've been test riding loads of bikes, but they've all been adventure bikes, cruisers, dirt bikes, that kind of thing. I do have a sports tourer, but it's been a long time since I've ridden anything this kind of sporty or aggressive. And yet the second I got on this thing, I just felt perfectly confident. I mean, the tyres grip the road beautifully, the ABS does a wonderful job. I never feel never feel uncomfortable. Well, I feel uncomfortable, but I never feel like in danger. Well, yeah, I feel pretty safe considering I'm on a motorbike. You know, it's one of those. Right. It's kind of boring being stuck behind these guys, so if I get the chance to overtake, or at least get out onto the main road. See, the problem is around here, so many blind corners, you can't really see where you're going. Wanna go. That's the only thing, actually. That is the only thing. You do really, when you're riding this bike, it really makes you want to open the throttle. I'm generally not the sort of person that likes the speed. I'm not the sort of person that likes to, you know, accelerate harshly, usually. But on this bike, it just wants you to do it. It encourages you to do it. It's going, I've got the power. You know I've got the power. Come on, open me up. Feel it. So, once we get out onto the main road, that is exactly what we will do. And in actual fact, once we get closer to the main road, I will take it out of standard and stick it into A mode or sport mode, and we'll see just how aggressive this beastie is. Actually a little bit nervous. No, not really. Right, where do I want to go where I can give her a quick blat? Folkestone that way. Yeah, that'll do. Oh, my balls again. Every time you brake, you slide forward and smash! Trap your bollocks on the tank. Tell you what though, I can just about see the reflection of the front of the bike in the car in front, and it is a little bit nice. Right, you can do this on the fly apparently. Whee, there we go. Okay, for some reason, there it is. Whoa! Sporty mode really opens up the accelerator. Thing is, we're not actually on the main road yet, so I can't be too aggressive with it. Right, there we go. Nearly there. Yeah, so the different modes. Standard mode gives you about a 50% acceleration, well, a 50% throttle at 50% throttle, if that makes sense. So you get 50% power at 50% throttle. E mode, which is the toned down mode, gives you about 30% power at 50% throttle. Whereas A mode gives you 70% power at 50% throttle. Basically, what that boils down to is it accelerates like shit off a fucking shovel. Right, here we go. Folkestone A20. No, I'm gonna shoot down to. No, hang on a minute. Yeah, I think I'm gonna shoot down to Dover way. Right, third gear, sport mode. I want to let her ring out, but I need to get out there first. She just, oh my god, she read. I mean, we're not even hitting 8,000 revs yet. Okay. of my way, you peasant! She feels so comfortable even at these speeds. I mean, we're doing nearly 80 miles an hour and I just feel so comfortable and happy. Gripping nicely. Oh yes, let's go for a tunnel blast. Oh yes, this is quite a bike indeed. Hey ho Silver, away! Woohoo! Oh yes! Yeah! See, now this is the thing. This may only be a 600 and it may only have 120 horsepower, but on Britain's roads you just can't use anything else. Like anything more powerful and faster than this, where the fuck are you going to use it? God, it's a bloody animal. The note of that exhaust as well, when you wind her up and the exhaust starts to really howl. Sounds so nice. Ah. I just keep wanting to roll on the throttle. I keep slowing down because I should be going a lot slower than this, but every time I do I just want to go, no, it doesn't feel right, off we go again. And that's the danger with this type of bike, because of the aggressive riding style and because it is a track bike as well, it encourages you to be a little bit too bad on the roads. I mean, like, it feels so secure and you feel so safe going faster, but the thing is you shouldn't really, breaking the law. And that's why I don't think bikes like this necessarily have a place on the roads anymore. Because you can get 600 and 1000 cc's street fighters, and they'll get you in enough trouble anyway. But this will get you in a lot of trouble. Right, so let's do a quick summary. I absolutely love the styling of this thing. It is absolutely gorgeous. Unfortunately, I do find it incredibly uncomfortable. I don't really like how short it is. I kind of wish it was a bit more stretched out. But having said that, I do think it is a fantastic bike. If you're looking into buying one of these, I would definitely recommend taking one out for a test ride. I mean, you know, when it comes to comfort and stuff like that, everyone's different, everyone's going to have a different experience of it, so I'd definitely recommend taking it out. It's just, for me personally, it's a little bit uncomfortable. But I have had a hell of a lot of fun on it. It handles beautifully. The power delivery is so smooth. The selectable modes and everything is great. Do I think that it's a good bike for the road? Not really. Not in my personal opinion. Your opinion might differ, and if it does, that's great. But for me personally, it's not a fantastic road bike. I think to buy a bike like this, you kind of want to be someone who either likes to go out and do track days, and perhaps wants a bike that you can drive to the track, drive around the track and then drive home, or maybe someone that likes to go out on the weekends. It's not a bike for every day. You wouldn't want to travel to work on this, you wouldn't want to do any long distances on it, but it is a very, very, very good bike. I definitely think it's worth the money. I mean, £11,000 is expensive, but for the technology you get and for the materials this thing's made out of and the styling, just that beautiful, beautiful styling. In actual fact, I will get off it so that you guys can again have a quick look. Just everything is so sharp. Back end, it's all just sharp edges, but obviously it's aerodynamic, seamless. That is a thing of beauty. Even I'll admit that. I mean, I usually am under the impression that all sports bikes pretty much look the same, but this is very pretty indeed. Right, that'll actually do for this one. I've got another review coming up next week. We're going to be on the new 2017 Suzuki V-Strom 1000, so look out for that one. In the meantime, if you do like this video, please do give me a like and subscribe. Any comments, please leave them below. And for now, thank you guys so much for watching. Catch you again next time, and goodbye.